I was the most skeptical when it came to UV LED eyelash extensions. So if you are too, I completely understand you because been there. When I started to open my mind about it, it's when I started to notice a couple of people from the industry, which I do genuinely trust, which they started to use this system. Next thing, I got my lashes done by using this system, and as a client I loved it. The retention, it was much better. Also, I do have dry eye syndrome, and I just felt that after the treatment I didn't had that feeling of really dry eyes after I got my lashes done. It was no stinging and so on. Here I want to tell you about the benefits which I personally noticed when using UV LED eyelash extension system, and I'm gonna divide them in two parts: the benefits for the lash artist and the benefits for the clients. Let's start with the benefits for the lash artist, and the first benefit is the fact that you are in control of the curing process, polymerization process of the glue. It's no longer guessing. The glue is gonna cure on your demand. In the second when you trigger the light, that's the moment when the glue will completely cure. Second is the fact that the glue no longer depends on humidity and temperature to polymerize, to dry in popular language. So you don't have to worry anymore about humidity and temperature when it comes to polymerization of the glue. It will fully cure in contact with the light. Third, it's the application time. You can reduce the application time, the treatment time. Personally, I reduce it with up to half an hour. Because of how this system works, you can work lash by lash, which means you are gonna save time on isolation and you can work actually faster. At the beginning, obviously, it might take you a couple of treatments. Personally, it took me 3-4 treatments, 3-4 clients to get used with the whole system. But once that happens, you can actually work faster. Fourth benefit is the fact that you have no chance to create stickies, obviously, if you do proper isolation and if you control the system. The fifth benefit is the fact that you won't need any speed up solution, any booster to keep your fans open, just because the glues, they cure very fast. The UV glues, they cure very fast. So imagine that in the second that you are triggering the light, that's the second where your glue is going to be completely cured. So the glue, it doesn't go up to close your fans. Next benefit is the fact that your directions are going to improve. Why? Because most of the time, lash artists, they do apply the extension having the correct direction. But direction, especially in classics, it gets messed up in the moment when you isolate. Why? Because the glue is gonna be cured outside in a regular system, but inside it will still be slightly soft. So in the moment when you will isolate and push an extension to a side, is gonna slightly change direction. Meantime, with the UV LED system, this thing is no longer happening, because in the moment when you're curing the glue, it's gonna be completely cured, so it won't change the direction. You can move the extensions left, right, put as much pressure as you want, but it won't change the direction. The last benefit for the lash artists when it comes to UV LED eyelash extensions is the fact that it's decreasing the chances of you as a lash artist to develop an allergic reaction. Why is that? Because the UV glue has 80% less fumes, produce 80% less fumes. So because of that, it's decreasing the chances. Now, personally, let me tell you something, because you might say that the glue is gonna cure instantly. It doesn't have a lot of fumes around the eye when for the client, so it's decreasing the chances of the client to get allergic reaction, but I still use a drop of glue which produce fumes, which it is true. However, the UV glue doesn't react as much with the humidity, so for instance, it won't produce as much fumes. The drop itself, it won't produce as much fumes. For example, I even left a drop of glue in a glue holder cup overnight in my drawer, and guess what? Next day it was still soft. It did thicken the consistency slightly, but the glue, it was still soft. It doesn't have that, the humidity, it doesn't have that big influence to trigger the polymerization process. So the main trigger in UV LED systems are actually some ingredients called photoinitiators, which they are included in the UV glue. So you won't have this photoinitiators in a regular glue. The benefits which the clients have, first of all, better retention. I'm gonna tell you, I never had problems with retention, thankfully. However, the retention even improved much more. I would say at least a week and a half more than with using regular glue. The reasoning behind is the fact that the polymer chain, they are stronger when the glue is polymerized in contact with the UV LED light, and also the controlled polymerization. So you are in control. So the glue, it won't start to polymerize before you are attaching it to the natural lash. Another benefit for the client is that they won't have any stinging when they open their eyes after they get their lashes done. We all know that normally we give a fan to the client just to help them to don't feel their eyes stinging because of the fumes that they are around when we are working with the regular system. With UV LED glue, you don't need that anymore. So the client comfort increases. Another important point is the fact that your client can get their lashes wet straight after getting the lashes done, because the glue is going to be completely cured. Also, another benefit is the fact that it decreases the chances of becoming allergic. So your client has less chances of becoming allergic when you are using a UV LED system. The reason why is the fact that they are, as mentioned before, up to 80% lower fumes. And why is that? First of all, the polymerization, when it happens in contact with the UV LED light, is gonna be a lot faster, so the exposure time decreases a lot. Also, the way that the polymerization happens, it has lower fumes than when the polymerization happens in contact with humidity. In the last couple of months, I've been trying and using only UV LED system for my clients, and I love it. I've been trying so many different devices. Also, I took about 5 different courses into this system to understand it in depth. However, that was not enough, so I did my own research, and I'm lucky enough that my partner, he studied physics at uni, so that helped me as well. I did a strong dive into chemistry, and I'm ready to share all this knowledge. That's why I came up with an advanced UV LED course, which is nearly ready. If you are interested to find out about it, just DM me UV LED info, and I'm gonna keep you posted, and you might even be lucky to get an introductory offer for the course.